Hello, BookTube. I mentioned the other day, yesterday, that I might have to go today without making a video at all, thanks to weird outside interferences. And I got flooded with comments and texts and emails from people who really didn't want that to be true. They've uh, they've grown quite accustomed to regular Steve updates of tedium and ranting. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how nice that felt. And I realized that I've grown quite accustomed too. So even though it's chaos here at Hyde Cottage, I have sequestered myself at least for a bit. I mean, it won't be a long video, but at least for a bit, to chat with you for a bit, to show you the puppy. There's Frida. Here she is. There's my girl. You're a good girl. Yes, you are a good girl. Who's bigger? You can't really tell. Maybe you can. She's bigger. She's got heft to her now, muscle to her now, and our experiments at walking are improving every day. They didn't go anywhere today. I suited her up and got all ready to go on a walk this morning at 10. But by then it was 87 degrees with a full 98% humidity here in Boston. A full 98% humidity, meaning just one tick more and it wouldn't be possible for liquid to evaporate in Boston. Which is something that's supposed to be sustainable only for an hour, maybe, in the very beginning of a major storm, but it's been like that here for weeks. Cement couplings on roads are uncoupling. The siding on buildings is curving and melting. It's the long story short being that we couldn't get far. We went only a little ways walking in what is effectively a sauna before we were both panting like crazy and had to stop. But even so, her progress is wonderful. So I'm very pleased, and I will so I just thought I'd give you a quick puppy update. The walking is coming along fine, and she's doing wonderfully with understanding what I want her to do in terms of the bathroom. Because I think I've mentioned on this channel before, I don't actually train my own dogs. In the past, I have made a good, lucrative side business out of training other people's dogs, but I don't train my own. I don't give them an artificial series of commands and then reinforce those with threats or punishment. Instead, it's more of an ongoing conversation. It's a lot closer, if this doesn't sound too woo-woo, it's a lot closer to how humans raise their children than it is to what you might off the top of your head think of as training a dog. I don't train my own dogs, so the process of something very discreet like house training takes a little longer. I would certainly have been done by now with somebody else's dog if I were training them at this age. But instead, I want Frida to understand it on her own. That way, it doesn't matter what I want. And she is starting to get that. She's starting to realize that, well, if I lay around here and I wander from room to room here, and I relax on the floor here, and I eat my food here, I really don't want to pee and poop here. I want that realization to come to her mind, and it is. Several times in the last few weeks, I guess, we get outside, and she immediately goes, which is not, if that happened once, that would be weird timing. If it happens regularly, it means she's waiting to go. And that's good for her. I pat her on the head every time it happens. And it's kind of strange because my fat little basset hound Lucy never actually understood that. She never actually did learn anything. So it's kind of weird that a dog this young, 15 weeks, would already be, picking up on all this stuff. It's wonderful. But anyway, so I want to give you a glimpse of the puppy, an update on the puppy, and now we'll do a little mail haul. It's only, what do we got here? 5 packages, but it ends in 2 big boxes. So, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything more. There are people on the other side of that door. I'm just glad there aren't people on the other side of this door right here, because this is a closet that I don't have possessions that I would put in a closet that you could see. My possessions are on bookshelves. So after a while in this room, I decided, well, why have the bed jutting out or taking up valuable bookshelf space along a wall when you can position it in front of the window where bookshelves can't go? And then I realized, well, okay, the only way that'll work is if you close off the closet. It has a door. If you swing the door closed, then you make the room into a box. You don't have that angle for the door against the wall anymore. And I thought, well, I could certainly do that. I don't use the closet, so I can just mostly empty it. I think there's some shoulder bags or sweaters or whatever in there, and then close it off. And I've had a couple of people in this room over the last year or year and a half since I did it say, what would you do if you were reading late at night and you heard a knock at that door? Oh. Anyway, on the other side of that door, there are people interrupting my hermit-like existence. But I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to not be here. So we'll go through these together. It'll probably be, what are we up to now? We're up to 5 minutes of empty nattering. Good Lord, I am a natural. So there'll be a 10-minute video, something like that, and then we'll call it off and see if maybe a better opening opens up tomorrow. All right, so the first one is The Trials of a Scold in the finished copy. The incredible story of writer Anne Royal by Jeff Biggers. Which I think we saw before. I think we saw the advanced copy of this before. It's a lively and groundbreaking biography of the nation's first female muckraker. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw this before. And this comes out in November, on November 7th, which I'm starting to notice. November 7th is starting to become yet another D-Day, where, I mean, it's not hard and fast. These publishers are just putting November 7th. Most of them aren't going to feel obliged to observe that strictly. So, but I'm still noticing that on my growing November shelf, there are probably 30 books now already, maybe more than that all come out on the 7th. Anyway, let's move on here. So we've got this thing here. It has these little pull tabs. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. What have we here? Oh. It's in another package. But it has a sign telling me what it is. This is kind of nice. This is in brown paper with twine. I actually requested this. It looked good to me. So what have we got here? This is the advanced copy of a book called The Hunger by Alma Katsu, where the title of the book is Rising Over a Ridge. A tense and gripping reimagining of one of America's most fascinating moments, the Donner Party, with a supernatural turn. I wonder if I have a better description than that. I thought I read one. Yes, evil is invisible, and it is everywhere. There is only one way to explain the series of misfortunes that have plagued the wagon train known as the Donner Party. That's true, and that one way of explaining the misfortunes that plagued the Donner Party actually has a name. A first and last name. They just listened to the wrong person over and over again. But anyway, depleted rations, bitter quarrels, and the mysterious death of a little boy have driven the isolated travelers to the brink of madness. Though they dream of what awaits them in the West, long-buried secrets begin to emerge, and dissent among them escalates to the point of murder and chaos. And so this is the Donner Party plus the supernatural, which is kind of strange. That's kind of neat. I couldn't resist. I'm a huge. I might have mentioned on this channel before. I'm a huge fan of the Donner Party, and the larger stories that it represents. There was a great book just recently. I think it was late last year, maybe even been early this year. A great study of the Donner Party in that larger context. If I remember, I will hunt it down, and I think I reviewed it. I'll put a link to my review down below. And of course, the classic book is Ordeal by Hunger, which is, I think, still in print, and which is a heck of a read. It's with these, this is going to be November 7th. That's what I'm checking for. I'm checking to see if it's going to be November 7th. No, it's March. Oh, good Lord. Okay. The Donner Party is a lot like, other emblematic disasters like the Titanic. The Titanic has The Night Lives On by Walter Lord. These things that, they all have, almost all of them have this one popular history, purely narrative telling that sold millions of copies, millions, and was a staple. And so every new history kind of sort of looks over its shoulder at those books, even though most of those books don't make any pretense of scholarship. Same thing with Jim Bishop's The Day Lincoln Was Shot, which is a gigantic example of what I'm talking about. For all the millions of books on the Lincoln assassination, that's the one that is still the bestseller. So, all right, well let's move on here. Frida is over on the floor. That's why I keep looking over there. She has successfully surprised one of the pillows that she sleeps on, and is now disemboweling it. I'm really kind of grateful for her baby teeth, because if she had real teeth, she'd be losing a pillow right now. And there's some very basic common sense rules here. Unfortunately, there's some very basic common sense rules. If you wander away from your food and another dog poaches it, you don't get more food until the next time food is put down. I am not going to protect your food for you. And that's a common sense rule. And another one is, if you destroy your own bedding, don't expect me to replace it. That's as simple as that. But she usually tires out. And once her baby teeth start to be replaced with real teeth, I'm going to have to rethink all of this. I'm assuming that by that time that happens, she won't be wantonly chewing everything. Because she knows I don't particularly like that either. I'm not going to say anything about it to a puppy, because dogs experience the world through their nose and their teeth. So, you know, this is the equivalent of a toddler touching everything. So I'm not going to stop her, but the sooner it ends, the better I would like it. Anyway, the next thing is lovely. It's The Italian Teacher by Tom Rachman. Lovely thing. I think this comes out next year as well. Yeah, this comes out in March, so I don't have to worry about it. He is the author of 2 previous novels, The Rise and Fall of Great Powers and The Imperfectionists. He wrote The Imperfectionists. Oh, some of you will know that book. And they mentioned that The Imperfectionist was an international bestseller. And this is... what have we got here? This is... The author treats us to a view of a painter's creative process and the business of art from the perspective of a fictional insider, the world-famous painter Bear Bavinski. The novel, however, is his son Pinch's story, not Bear's. It is a story about an aspiring artist living in the shadow of his famous father, struggling to build a legacy of his own. And it comes out in March. Here's hoping they keep that cover. So we've got some pretty good covers this time around. And then we will move on to the boxes here. So the first one is this one. Once again, I know what I want one of these boxes to be, and it's been over a week now, and it hasn't shown up. So I'm just assuming that I'm not going to get my way. All right. Box number 1 is full of penguins. So I cannot complain. So, first, we have 3 of the new penguin reprint, the Pelican reprints of Shakespeare. First one's the Sonnets. There we are. Smoochy, smoochy. And then Troilus and Cressida. And Henry IV, Part 2. So we have a nice wide variety of, a history play, a late romance, and the sonnets. Continuing with the shelf, I have almost all of these now. They're just going through Shakespeare. That is great. That is fantastic. And the next one is a Penguin Classic Deluxe edition of Anne of Green Gables. So wow, that's I'm not a huge fan of the cover, but I love these Penguin Classic Deluxe editions, and I take them. Does this have a release date? I take them as I think I mentioned on this channel before. I take them as an open invitation to reread the books, and I do every time when I get a Penguin. I reread it. Yeah, this comes out in mid-November, so this is next month, and it's a good. I mean, look, it's got dresses and ghosts and ice cream cones floating around in the sky, and a stick figure of a. I don't know. I'm sure it will have its fans. Whose work am I degrading here? Chauvin Gallagher. Okay. All right. Well, I mentioned on this channel before that I've noticed recently that I love rereading. I love rereading books. I really do. And I've noticed recently that between reissued literary fiction from places like the New York Review of Books, between reissued history that happens regularly, more regularly than you'd think, and between reissued classics, there's less and less reason. In 2017, I have come to realize there's less and less reason for me to go out looking for secondhand books. I don't know how I'm gonna. Of course, I want to keep doing that, so I don't know how I'm gonna figure. I'll figure that out at New Year's what that is, and then we've got this big thing. Now I know what I want this to be. There's one particular book. It's big. It could come in a box, and it's been promised, so it's long overdue, and it just refuses to come. It's very annoying. So let's see what we have here. Oh, quit fussing. Okay, wow. Okay, this is not going to happen. It's kind of amazing. Okay, let's destroy the packaging in order to get the book out. Keep in mind, Steve's rule number 11. The more work you have to put into opening the package, the less the book inside is worth it. We'll see if this holds up to that. Oh, okay. This is a beautiful young adult novel. Absolutely did not need to be in a huge box with packaging wrapped in steel. But this is it's a book called Timeless. The subtitle is Diego and the Rangers of the Vastlantic. And it's a YA novel by Armand Baltazar, who was born in Chicago, Chicago's North Side, not far from the famed Wrigley Field. After attending the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, he began a visual storytelling career in feature animation as a background artist. And it doesn't really say on the author bio, but I think this is his first book. But the reason that it struck my eye, that is what the book looks like, but the reason it struck my eye is it is unbelievably beautiful. It is full of full color illustrations. Full of them. They're literally on almost every page, which is incredible. Look at that. So it's an old-fashioned picture book that is crammed full of pictures. This guy is an artist as well as a writer, and it must have taken him forever to do this. These are all paintings. There's no line drawings. As far as I remember, there's no line drawings. That is Diego, our hero. And I haven't read it. I dipped into it just a bit when I saw in advance, but I can't wait. I mean, imagine, it's lavishly illustrated. That's just incredible. I wish more of that. So there you go. And once again, I'm not complaining. These are all great. But once again, the book I have been waiting for did not come. I'm supposed to review it in November, and it's almost November. I don't understand publishers sometimes. Anyway, so we have Timeless by Armand Baltazar, a lavishly illustrated YA novel. And then what else have we got here? Anne of Green Gables in a Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition. We have 3 Shakespeare's, the Sonnets, Henry IV Part 2, and Troilus and Cressida. We have The Italian Teacher by Tom Rachman, a novel, and then another novel, The Hunger, which is the Darna Party gets even less lucky, and Trials of a Scold in the finished copy. So only a little history, but still a really colorful, varied haul, which I like. But now I'm afraid that's all the time I have. I now have to get back to being a person. I'm not particularly convincing as a person. I would rather be just a figure in your phone or on your computer. But I will... Oh, do you want to come up here? You want to say goodbye to everybody? There's the baby. We're going to go now and back to entertaining. Oh, God. But I'll try again tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.